This is the assignment on externalities. Number 1 is about negative externalities. It says, provide one example of a negative externality and draw a graph depicting the socially optimal quantity and the market quantity. Explain why this is a market failure. Explain the similarities between a negative externality and a common resource. Okay, so an example, the textbook kind of example of a negative externality is pollution. So the idea is that we're producing this product that people want to buy and people want to sell, but while this product is being produced and or consumed, there is some spillover costs, this pollution that has a cost or impact on other people. And when people are buying and selling that product, they're not necessarily taking that cost into account. Therefore, it's an externality that spills over onto other people, a third party, not buying and selling the product necessarily. So if we're going to draw a graph of this pollution, for example, so we're going to have price per unit on the vertical axis, quantity, number of units down on the horizontal axis, kind of like normal. Starting with a normal demand, downward sloping, upward supply, like we're used to seeing all quarter long, the demand is actually like the private marginal benefit. What benefit do consumers get by consuming this product, and therefore that's how much they're willing to pay for it. It's their marginal benefit. The supply is like the private marginal cost. How much does it cost them per unit to produce this product? We'll be getting into this cost curve a lot more detail later in the quarter. But normally in a market, we go to where demand meets supply. Where does that private marginal benefit equal that private marginal cost? And we're going to see here, this is the quantity, the equilibrium quantity in a market. And this is the equilibrium price in a market. With an externality, however, what is different is that there's an extra cost. So instead of this being the full story of the cost, we're thinking, what is the cost to society? So there's actually a higher cost curve. This cost curve is shifted up, and I call this MSC for marginal social cost. Marginal social cost. So the cost to society is actually greater than the cost to any firm who's producing this product. And if you're looking now at this new equilibrium for what is best for society, this kind of socially optimal, if you're taking into account all of the costs from all of society, we're seeing this is the optimal quantity, and actually this is the optimal price. So comparing these two outcomes, what is best for society is to produce a smaller quantity of this good that is creating pollution. But if we're not taking those costs into account, the market is going to overdo it and produce too much of this. So this is helping us see the difference between the socially optimal quantity that's lower and the market quantity that's higher. Why is this a market failure? It's a market failure anytime the market doesn't lead to an efficient outcome. And we're going to experience some deadweight loss with this. That's what a market failure means. Market failure is not necessarily a firm going out of business. It means that the market is not getting the right answer. So with this market failure, we see that we're actually producing too much. The quantity in the market is gone beyond the optimal level. And we're going to experience some deadweight loss. The deadweight loss is actually this area, taking this line up here. I'm going to shade this in here. This area shows that, by going beyond the socially optimal quantity, the benefit to society is down here, is less than the cost to society, but we did it anyways. So we've gone too far with our market quantity, and therefore we have this area of deadweight loss. And that is why this is a market failure. The market is actually leading us to the incorrect answer, the inefficient outcome. And then how is this similar to a common resource? The pictures are actually incredibly similar. So with both a negative externality, it's similar to a common resource in that we have the cost to society is greater than the cost to any one individual. It means that the market quantity is greater than the quantity that is socially optimal. And it means that we have this outcome of deadweight loss. So in that sense, the negative externality is going to look exactly like a common resource for these reasons. And so actually graphically, these things look very similar. And in my mind, I draw them exactly the same.